Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jenna.
I'm so excited.
I am so excited. Like, I'm already so proud of ourselves
I know. And
for doing it.
we've been talking about this for a while.
Yes, we have.
So
Yes, we have.
we are finally here.
Yes, we are.
We are hosting the While You Wait podcast.
Welcome,
We're
welcome.
we've been waiting a while to do this. And
Yes,
the moment has come. Yay.
absolutely.
So for those of you listening, I am Jenna Energy. Before doing a big bio and going into myself, we're just going to kind of hang out today. So if you
Yep.
really want to know more about me, you can find me at Jenna Energy on all the things. But for right now, Jess, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jessica Roberts. And you can find me at I Am Designed for More. Mainly I'm on IG. That's where I live. I haven't branched out a whole
That's
lot these
that's where
days.
we like to hang out.
Yeah, it's the best. It's just the best.
Is that because we're millennials? Is that's
Right,
like
exactly. I'm kind of
right?
an
Yeah.
older millennial, but I'm still in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a while to get us off the IG.
Right.
Um, so yeah, like I said, we're going to do a bio episode where Jess and I interview each other and we go into our background and our full picture life. So I think, and we're going to talk about, all
Yeah.
the interpersonal makings of how we got where we are.
Yeah.
But we don't want to go into that on the first episode. That's kind of boring, right? Nobody cares about us.
Yeah, we weren't feeling it.
No, we were not feeling it. Instead, I say we talk about the energy of waiting.
I love it. Yes, please.
So not waiting itself, not the sitting in the waiting, but the
Mm.
energy of waiting. What
Mhm.
comes up when you hear, just wait, honey, we'll be there soon. Or I'm waiting for a job interview, or I'm waiting
Right.
to hear back from this guy that texted me. That's definitely not
Hmm.
our case right now, but there's people listening that are in
Yes.
the energy of waiting right now
Oh, yes. I know.
because,
Yep. I know that energy well.
because we're always in it. So
Yep.
let's talk about waiting on a big scale,
Hmm.
big collective energy waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you think we are right now when it comes to collective energy? I would say we're at a very big transitioning point
100%. Yes.
because I think people were forced to wait in 2020
Very abruptly. Yes.
very abruptly. So we all
Yeah.
got a lot more comfortable with the energy itself.
Yeah.
And we're also moving into the new paradigm.
Yes. Ooh.
Mhm. But what was the energy of waiting for you previously to where you're at right now in life? Like, let's just talk about it.
It
How did
didn't
it feel to
exist.
wait? It didn't
I had no comprehension or no
awareness of it.
awareness. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no awareness of it. Life's been great. I
Mhm.
I really feel like there was a y- yes saying no to things that weren't 100% yes, but never saying yes to something that was like a oh my god, I don't want to do like no, this is not
Mhm.
good, not good, not like an overwhelming. So I kind of always have had that compass of
Mhm.
direction that had never steered me crazy off course or like a
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, we're both doing well, and we've always been
Yeah.
doing well.
Yes. But like this energy of waiting, no idea, no comprehension.
Mhm. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
like, when you were given an opportunity or you were waiting for something, I'm trying to think of an example, waiting to get into college, right? Or
Sure.
waiting to go back to school.
Yep.
Those periods of time,
Yeah.
it was just I mean, you just sat in it and you
Mhm.
didn't like, I feel like it didn't exist. Is that
No.
true? It literally didn't
Right.
exist. You're
Uh-uh.
so true when you say that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think I didn't have any problems with it either.
No.
Did we create problems with waiting? Wait a second.
I mean, yeah,
This
that's a
is
whole
such a
other
good point, Jess.
conversation.
We might have. We might have created
Yeah.
problems with waiting. No, but it didn't exist. I
Mm-mm.
can't think of an example of when I was waiting. And I mean, I would say I definitely got anxious when I would wait for things, right? So I'm thinking about
Mm.
in a job interview, I had multiple internships. I've worked at different corporate,
Yeah.
companies.
Sure.
And so I was much more in an anxious energy and in a control energy, even though
Mm-mm.
I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
aware of the energy of waiting, right? So when I was in that period of waiting, I did a job interview, let's say, as an example for this
Yeah.
company, felt like I did really well in it. I connected with the people. And then there was just this anxiousness where I wanted the answer. I feel like
Yes.
that was definitely there up
Yes.
until this big shift in our collective energy. And I would say that's the masculine,
Mm-hmm.
right? We were all
Mm-hmm.
very much in our masculine up until this phase of life,
Yes.
of healing.
Yes, that is such a good summary because
Hmm.
I would agree with that. Because there definitely are times where it's like, oh yeah, I'm good waiting on XYZ or hearing back on like, but if there was not an end date for that, if there's
Hmm.
not like, oh, we'll let you know by
Okay.
Thursday, or there's a deadline for this project and then I can do my part. If it was open and there wasn't any of that control,
Yeah.
yeah, that was hard. That was hard.
So it was like if there wasn't a man-made
Right.
timeline
Mm-hmm.
around your waiting,
Yes.
that's when you realized you were waiting, right? Because you were like,
Right.
but that is the true energy of waiting, right? Like, are you really waiting if you know that the answer is going to come in 4 days? No, then you can just relax and distract yourself.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think it did exist. We just didn't identify it as
Yeah.
this energy of waiting. It was like, where's my damn answer?
Yes. I mean, it definitely like that connection with it being more masculine, more
Hmm.
control,
Hmm.
especially, I mean, especially with both of us being more corporate side of things at that stage of our life. Like that's how it works, right? Like that's how you're
Mm.
conditioned to like do
Yeah.
things and operate. So yeah, and it's interesting because I have not thought about it much. Like the
Yeah.
difference between, 4 or more years ago between these
Yeah.
last handful of years.
Yeah, I know. And this is, we can say for whoever's listening, this is a totally transparent conversation.
Yes, 100%.
Me and Jess did not very little prep this conversation. So
Yes.
anything that is coming up is organic. We
Right.
are processing and interpreting right on the spot. So we
Absolutely.
have not thought about the passive energy, the energy of waiting, which is kind of funny because we're starting a podcast called While You Wait.
Exactly. But
But
this
that's what
that's the
this
whole
is.
point of this platform. Like
Exactly.
we just want to show up and be our projector and generate ourselves and
Yes.
have these conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about that, what came through was, do you ever recall being told to wait as like a child, little kid in
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
like that energy of waiting? How did
Yeah.
that feel for you? Like waiting for the bell to ring or,
Yeah.
waiting to go on vacation with your family? Like how did waiting
Yeah.
feel as a kid for you?
It's just what you did.
The
It's just what you like I followed the
rules.
rules. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a good little rule follower.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, you still am.
So I'm curious, and I mean, so was I, right?
Yeah.
Like I was a little angel child
Oh,
from what
yeah,
I
me
hear.
too. Yeah.
Um, but so I wonder if that energy of just following the rules
Mhm.
when it comes to waiting then translated into our adult life, where as long as there were rules, there was I'm gonna let you know if you got this job by the end of the week. That's kind of a
Yes.
rule, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
There's
Yes.
framework and rules around it. We were okay with it.
Yeah.
But as soon as we got into this energy of, well, there are no rules. You're creating
Uh,
your own life.
right.
Waiting all of a sudden is like this
Uh,
big thing. I feel like I've been
yes.
waiting forever.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Nothing's happening. What do I
Uh-huh.
do while I wait? All these questions about waiting came up when the
Right.
rules
Yes.
subsided.
100%. That's
When the
beautifully put.
what is it? Is that the masculine container though?
I would lean to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
almost as if our masculine container right now in society is collapsing. I mean, another time to discuss that,
Right.
right?
All the things collapsing.
Yeah, but lots of things are collapsing.
Yes.
It's been a very unhealthy masculine container
Yeah.
because it's come from fear and control. But
Right.
either way, it was a masculine container where we could feel, you know, safe. We were in something when it came
Right.
to waiting. Now that it's collapsed, basically, at least in our worlds, it feels
Right.
like everybody is
Sure.
saying, you don't have to follow any rules. You create your own destiny. And
Yep.
now we're just like, oh,
Okay,
okay,
what do I do with that?
okay. So how do you feel about waiting now?
It's okay. Now it's still a roller coaster. And I would say I'm a solid 3 years of being like aware of waiting is a gift and can bring
Mhm.
more ease and flow into my life and more alignment and proper opportunities, all that goodness. And I say it's still a bit of a roller coaster because I feel like I'm coming into this new level of really surrendering to waiting, and I can feel it like, oh, whew, okay, here's the next level. Like I've gotten a good foundation of waiting and paying attention to my body and
Mhm.
the opportunities coming my way, what I'm seeing in my external reality, but I know there's even more potency that I'm not honoring. Like there's
Mhm.
body awareness that I still have closed off. So I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
it's showing up. It's coming. Okay. But it's good. Like I'm looking forward to it, but I also know it'll be like new learning, new patterning
Mhm.
happening. But
Yeah.
I will say this. When you are waiting, and I know we haven't really talked about human design yet, but we will. So when I'm waiting as a generator, I'll just give that preface. Um, when things are aligned, it's like freakishly easy. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I want. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. I'll trust this more. Like the
Mhm.
flow is just undeniable. Like
Mhm.
it's so juicy when it's aligned.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love so much has come through as you were talking.
Oh, good. Please share.
I mean, I resonate with where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And my first response to you describing your relationship with waiting,
Hmm.
not that there's incorrect or correct or right or wrong,
Correct. Yeah.
but I mean, if I was to say it's correct or I could, I feel like it is because you're saying, there's more to come
Hmm.
with this relationship of waiting, but you're okay that you're not there yet. And that's waiting, right?
Oh my God. Yes, I didn't even
I mean,
mean
I
to
know
do
that's a
that.
little bit inception. I'm like backing up or out, we're really going back when it
Right.
comes to the energy of money.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, what Jess just shared in regards to her relationship
Yeah.
with waiting, I
Yeah.
mean, that is where I feel as though we're all practicing to be,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and then when it comes to being in alignment and things are coming fast, what's coming through is when you're in alignment, you're following the laws of the universe.
Totally.
And that's
Yes.
a structure.
Ooh, yes, it
That's a
is.
masculine energy, right?
Yes.
Those are literally the laws of the universe, the law of gravity. We were just talking about laws and
Yes.
rules,
Yes.
the law of oneness, right? So these,
Mm-hmm.
when you are following your design, which is at its core, following your intuition, following what
Yeah.
feels good,
Yep.
trusting yourself, your mind, your body,
Yep.
you're following the laws and rules of the universe, which is a masculine energy I want to be in rather than the man-made masculine container
Right.
energy.
Something else I've never thought of. Oh
Me
my.
either.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Me either. I mean, I never thought of this either until you were talking.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So with all of that, for
Mm-hmm.
you, what's this evolution the last handful of years? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how is that looking, especially I'll just highlight as a projector,
Yes.
like
Yeah, let's
your
talk
weighting
about
is
that.
kind of different. Sure.
Let's just dive into those
Sure.
differences. So do you want to explain for
Yeah.
those? I mean, I would assume that we're going to have a lot of human design
I hope so.
homies tuning
Yeah.
in to
Welcome,
this,
welcome.
so like if you're listening to this, we're going to try not to over educate and spend
Yeah.
time educating, but we definitely want to tap in and share exactly what we're talking about as we're in these conversations. So
Yeah.
Jess, do you want to share the difference between our weighting and how
Yeah.
we weight differently as two different types in the human design system
Sure, sure.
before I
So,
answer?
yeah, so this is under the human design umbrella of your
Mhm.
strategy. So, strategy is all about how you take action, which can already confuse people when you're like, how I take action? I wait. Huh, that's an
Mhm.
interesting combo right there.
Yeah.
But that's kind of nuts and bolts strategy is how you take action in this world. So as a generator, which I am a generator, it's waiting to respond. And this waiting to respond, it's all about the external reality. Everything outside of yourself, you are in constant response. And it's like such a fun conversation to have. Um,
Mm.
with generators, and I will say manifesting generators, you also have an angle of this too, for those of you out there, because Hopefully some of you are listening to this. But this waiting to respond, I'm trying to think of like the one liner for this. The more clear and aligned you get with what you actually desire in life, the awareness will heighten for what you are responding to in your outer reality. And
I
so
love
you
that.
can think about waiting to respond as like the confirmation from the universe, from your energetics of like, this is aligned and this is the proper timing for what you're desiring. So
Yes.
we don't push, we don't force, we're not initiating. That's not our strategy. So we wait. We
Mm-hmm.
wait, whether that's a conversation about starting a podcast, seeing something on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, an opportunity, a friend of a friend says something to you and that ignites you, or that's the connection you were desiring and wanting, and your body responds. For me, it's my
Mm-hmm.
sacral. It's
Mm-hmm.
a uh-huh. It's a very gut reaction, gut feeling. And the more and more I tune in to my sacral, the easier it gets to know when things are in alignment. That or even a like, I don't know. I just need to dive into the ahas, the yeses, the 100% body is lit up, top priority alignment. And as generators, and I'll say manifesting generators as well, that sacral, it opens up so much ease and flow. But like Jenna, like you were saying before, like, wow, are we causing problems because we're like identifying with waiting? It's kind of like that too. Like
Yeah,
you can kind of get in your head, which the whole
for
thing is to
sure.
get out of your head and back
And
into your body. So
yes.
that's like a snippet there of
Mm-hmm.
the waiting
Yeah.
to respond as a generator.
And I love that you gave some examples. So, you're waiting to respond. You can be responding to, you said the podcast, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that was something that you had been thinking about,
Yes.
toying with, right? In
Oh,
your own
yes.
reality, in your own world. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just something that was, it was in your system. You were
Yeah.
internally interested in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You were still allowed to be internally fascinated by things and want
Yes.
things. It's not that you are, at the mercy of your external world.
Right.
But
Right.
as you tuned into that true desire,
Mm-hmm.
then I came in and was like, hey, while we're waiting,
Yes.
and we'll talk about that a little bit in a little bit. But
100%. Yeah.
that was a beautiful example, I think, of
Mm-hmm.
kind of internally tuning into your desire. And then it can be something just as small as that. Or,
Yep.
hey, ooh, this coffee shop just showed up in my
Yes.
reality. I think I want to go there. It could be very small or very big. So I love that you
100%.
shared that.
Yes. And then what about for
Now talk about
you?
me.
Yes. You want
Go
me
ahead.
to?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're great at
great.
this. I love it.
Okay. So, Jenna's a projector. So that's about 20% of the population hanging out as the projectors. So projector strategy, again, how you're meant to take action, is waiting for invitation and or recognition. So it's still waiting, but how it's received, how you get to um, react to that is different than generators and manifesting generators. So, as a projector, waiting for invitation and recognition, I would say it's more formal. It
Mm-hmm.
is like an invitation. The
Mm-hmm.
the more like this was a clear invitation, the more
Mm-hmm.
flow and ease a projector is going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And the recognition piece is that you really feel seen and heard. It's a very authentic exchange. It's not coming from like a manipulated place from the person giving it to you. It's very real, very authentic, very genuine. And that's something as projectors, and if you're a projector listening, I hear a lot that can take some time to tap into and really honor if like that was real, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, I wanted that to be real, like I
Ooh,
you know, like
juicy,
I
Jess.
know it's hard, but it's so
Yeah.
good, right? It like opens up the clarity once you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I see, I can look back and see how that wasn't aligned, I really
Yeah.
wanted it to be aligned, but I can see it's just this, you get more and more clear on like, no, this is the invitation or this is
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity I want to be invited into. Um, and one thing I'll say as well with that recognition piece is really you can start to look at, well, who's in your sphere? Are those
Mm-hmm.
people giving you recognition? Because if they aren't, you got to go find some other people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hands down, projectors. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be loved up on as much as possible. And
Yeah.
there can be a lot of conditioning around that, but that is something where it's a different flavor
Mm-hmm.
than as a generator, a manifesting generator in this game of waiting that we're
Mm-hmm.
in. But Jenna, I would love to hear kind of that invitation, like how that's currently the awareness you're bringing to that currently after, you've been doing this for a few years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so your original question was like, how does waiting feel for me,
Yeah.
right, as a projector? And so it's interesting. I love that you said it really, like, you'll know, right? You can look back. You said anyone who's
Yes.
listening, you're probably, and I'm listening, I was listening to you. And I
Yes.
was thinking back, and I can clearly identify, I can make a list probably right now
Sure.
of, okay, this was an invitation. This was kind of I could
Ah,
putting in quotes, list all my invitations
yes.
and then go back through and say, this one was real and aligned and I felt
Hmm.
recognized. This one I wasn't.
Right.
And I know for me that, just kind of speaking to the invitation before I dive into the waiting,
Hmm.
it does come through relationships. And I know that, like, when I am with the right when I'm with the right people, I feel seen and heard, and waiting isn't so bad.
Right. Yes.
Like you said,
Yes.
like building that community around
Hmm.
yourself so
Hmm.
that waiting isn't so bad, because those invitations are going to come in, you're seen in your world.
Yes.
So I think having boundaries and being,
Oh, yeah.
responsible for your relationships is a big part of being a projector,
Yes.
in the waiting game. But when it comes to waiting, I think, because I'm a projector, right? And you wait for an invitation or you wait for recognition,
Yes.
same thing in terms of roller coaster, right? I
Yeah.
think when I first, it's been, I don't even know, what year is it, right?
I know.
What
Where
year
are
is
we?
it? How long have I actually been doing this? What am I even doing? I don't even know. We're waiting. So maybe 3.5 years ago,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this is when this human design came into my life. My,
Yeah.
internal reflection journey began, my
Yeah.
self-discovery journey. I think at first it was that initial WTF, I have to wait, which
Yeah.
every projector will probably have.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then I had a big lapse of time where I was like, oh, thank God.
Nice.
Like a
Okay.
huge relief,
Yes.
because it was like, oh, you mean I don't have to do
Mm-hmm.
things?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People will just invite me, right? And that's the
Yes.
big thing, is we're projectors, we're here to guide, we're here
Yep.
to, you know, put forth a less, physical
Yep.
effort, energy, less doing. And
Yep.
so for me, I think it was a big relief at first. It was like, whew,
Mm.
okay, all right. I get to go back to my body.
Yeah.
I don't have to fake it. I could
Right.
stop faking this. I can
That's
stop
great.
showing up in places and invitations where I don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, I mean, then, like you said, I mean, it can be a back and forth game of,
Right.
well, wait, this isn't fair. I can solve that. I can do that. I can
Uh-huh.
be this. Just here, hand it to me. Let me do
Right.
it.
Right.
But I think what you said was really great, even in your experience with waiting, is that you feel better when you go from your mind to your body.
Yes.
When
Every
I'm in
time.
my body, waiting feels so good. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
ah, it's
Yes.
it's that release. It's that,
Yep.
relaxation. When I'm in my head and thinking about my experience of waiting, I contract. I get
Yeah.
tense, I get stressed.
Yes.
So I think for me, it's been a balance of, or a practice of, the body, right?
Right.
Getting
Yes.
into the body, being with my body, learning my body, relearning my body, releasing things from my body, learning how to communicate with my body.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm realizing in this moment has had a huge influence on my high or low frequency with waiting.
I love that.
It's a direct correlation, I would say,
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
how in tune I am with my body.
Right.
Hmm,
Oh, absolutely. Me
that's a
too.
good. It's a little
It is.
compass there.
Well, and I'm curious for you, a lot of projectors I talk with, this idea of like a more kind of formal type of invitation, like there's kind of a structure for
Mm-hmm.
that invitation. And I hear from a lot of projectors like, I'm getting no invitations. Like,
Mm-hmm.
have you experienced that? How did that feel? Like, I would love to hear more kind of your journey on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes.
Because I that's
The
not
answer
that
is
way for a
yes.
generator. Like,
Yeah.
I can respond like I can respond to every little like there's always something to respond to. Even if I
Yeah.
was by myself in the woods, I could respond to the bird that flew by or eat like it's a
Mm-hmm.
very that is I think the main difference between
Mm-hmm.
waiting as a generator and as a projector.
Yeah. So I think, and I love that you said the bird.
Yes, of course I did with you.
I don't like this has been a newfound obsession. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I was not always so fascinated with birds,
Yeah.
but I've never even talked about my fascination with birds
Here you
on an
go.
external resource. But now apparently I like birds and it's on the first episode. So here we are. Um,
Oh, deep dive.
right. So I feel as though I thought it had to be super formal.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Tell
think
me more.
I think the bigger the influence it's going to have on your life,
Yeah.
the more quote unquote formal
Yep.
or clarity or
Mm-hmm.
maybe explanation or maybe the deeper relationship with that person I need to have. And I'm saying you, but I'm kind of talking about me, right? Like
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Yep.
So if I'm being invited to move across the country, right?
Yes.
Like I need to feel truly invited to do that.
Yes. Yes, yes.
But I have had moments, right, where I am sitting in my house and I'm like, where's the damn invitations? Like,
Right.
I'm, scrolling on IG. I got Netflix binging in the background.
Yes.
Maybe the business is slow.
Sure.
We're chatting on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I haven't gotten an invitation in like 2 weeks, right? And that I don't need an invitation to live my life.
Yes. Yes, yes,
I don't
yes.
need an invitation to get in my car and go experience something or go to a coffee shop. Like that is just pure living. That is just being in my
Yep.
body. That is being human.
Yep.
And I think that's where you start to curate or manifest the bigger invitations.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it might, to maybe go into the city and try a new restaurant, I might still want an invitation, right?
Sure. Sure.
But that's going to come from me first calling my friend, my
Yep.
girlfriend, and talking to her for an hour.
Yep.
So it comes from being in your body and living. Like that's,
Yeah.
I would say, the first thing that I have to do when I'm
Mm-hmm.
lacking invitations.
Mm-hmm.
And then it stimulates, oh, well, then I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to talk to these people. And then I'm going to see this and interact. And
Yeah.
then that kind of, it manifests the energy of
Right.
invitations
I
and
love
of
it.
movement, right? You have to move
Yes.
before the energy of movement comes to you.
Right. Right.
Don't get
Ugh.
addicted to waiting, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that is something I really hear. There's
Yeah,
like this kind of freeze of like, I don't quite know what this means for my life, or
exactly.
I'm told I need to wait for
And
invitation.
I would say even people who don't know their human design,
Sure. Yep.
even let's say before this, we're in this paradigm shift, we're heading towards this new paradigm. Even before this, there was probably a little bit of an addiction to waiting and the energy of waiting
Sure.
because it was an excuse to not do things. It was an
Yeah.
excuse to, stay comfortable. It was an excuse to
Mhm.
stay in your zone of comfort.
Yes.
And so
Oh,
that's a
yes.
very, you know, that's something that we have to be obvious or aware of too, is our
Yeah.
addiction to that.
Oh, yes. Gotta love that comfort zone.
Yeah. It's like 2022 was, it asked everybody, are you sure you want to sit around and do nothing for a year?
Yeah,
So
right?
you really want that? Okay, I'll give it to you. But then, how
Yeah,
long do we want to do this? And,
right,
so that
right.
taught us a lot too. I'm just thinking back.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes.
So, what things have you responded to recently? Anything coming up? Any patterns you're recognizing in that experience of waiting and responding that maybe we
Yeah,
can share with the audience?
sure. Okay, so I can share kind of two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
One is I feel like I'm really I'm getting more and more aligned for how I want to spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, a lot of that revolves around work, around
Mm-hmm.
um, those interactions, the people I want to be working with, interacting with, the monetary exchange that comes
Mhm.
along with that, um, and kind of all that encompasses. And I feel like the last 3 or 4 months, I've like really leaned into more like, okay, this is nearing an end. I can feel it's nearing an end. I'm going to honor it's nearing an end. And like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I really love when I work with this group or this person or this type of work. Like, I'm
Mhm.
open to more of that. So that's been really fun to just like, I now being months into it, the path is getting more and more clear of like, the opportunities are coming, like, okay, like
Mhm.
I still am loving this, like I this
Mhm.
is where I want to spend more of my time. So that's been lovely to, and it's really come from paying attention to the body, like,
Mhm. I was gonna say, what I'm hearing is
mhm,
you're getting more clear on your joy, right? You're getting
yes,
further clarity
yes,
on your joy, and that's something that you have to do every day. It's not
yeah,
like one
yes,
day you're gonna wake up and be super clear and say, "Okay, this is my joy, the end, I'm done. No more
right,
waiting, I'll just go in that direction."
yes,
You're an
yes,
energy being, you're constantly changing, things die off, things need to die off. So it's
yep,
that tuning into your joy
yep,
every moment
absolutely,
to get out of the waiting and be
yeah.
comfortable with the waiting for the next thing.
Yep. And there even was waiting for a couple of things that have kind of fallen off in a
Mhm.
natural way, especially as a generator in my committed self. Like, once I started to be like, ooh, this isn't feeling as good, or this is
Mhm.
taking a turn,
Yeah.
it wasn't like I need to run away right this second. It was, well, there's still some things to finish up. Like, my responsibilities aren't done yet. So I'm going to see this through, but I'm also
Mhm.
open to like that just ending however it naturally ends and then allowing more space for something else to come in. So there's also can be waiting, I'll say, especially as a generator, for when you know that transition's
How
approaching
does
or
that feel for you, that energy of waiting? When you just know that you have to
Mhm.
complete something maybe before something can begin or be brought in. How did
Yeah.
that feel in your body? I'm just curious because it seems very specific what you're describing.
Uh-huh. I would definitely say there is like kind of peace to it
Yeah.
because it was also clear of like what was left. Like, there wasn't a lot of unknowns. It was just, okay, for me to feel good, XYZ still needs to
Mhm.
happen and put that time into it. But then it was like, well, that's fine. Like,
Mhm.
that is what I committed to, and I'm still good with that. Um, and then if there were, conversations or something that's like, oh, well, would you want to add this or that? No, I don't. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. Um, so yeah, it was definitely, I would say, peace. And also there were times of like, sure, I wanted it to hurry up. Like,
Yeah.
one of those. But I just will get these senses of just like, yep, nope, that's gonna end.
Mhm.
May take a few months, may not. I'm open to
Mhm.
however that looks. Um, yeah, and just kind of surrendering that. Like, I
Yeah.
have the knowing and I don't need to know every detail of how that's gonna pan out.
Mhm.
Um, But that's typically what happens for those kind of more
Yeah.
shifts in my life.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
it sounds like I mean, it sounds like you are moving in the direction of
Yeah.
I don't know what part of the roller coaster that would be
Right.
for you. For me, it would be the lower part because I effing hate roller coasters. So when I'm down at the bottom, I feel really good.
Right.
But
Right.
it seems like that's like you're at a place with waiting that feels
Hmm.
right for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know your boundaries with it. You
Mhm.
know what to expect when there is nothing to expect, right? It's a
Right.
surrendering.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of it when I think on more like a personal, relational side of life, kind of that
Mhm.
like day to day, right?
Yeah.
Like those sorts of things. That's
Yeah.
where I feel like, okay, this is where like the next level is going to come
Okay.
into play to like really honor the
Yeah.
yeses and the nos. So yeah, it can look uh, different ways depending on kind of
Yeah, your
what comes
relationship
up.
with waiting can feel
Yep.
different with
Yep.
different areas of your life.
Absolutely.
you're maybe better at it and more,
Mhm.
it's more of a balance of the masculine and feminine when you're in
Mhm.
work, maybe
Yeah.
in personal life.
Right,
It's
right,
maybe more of that or lower frequency, right? Like you're
right.
dipping into that like panic energy.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I resonate with
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like mine's equally great and panicky in all areas of life. Just
Right.
depends on the day, right? You would think I'm an
Yeah.
emotional being, but I am a
I know.
splenic projector, just
Yeah.
FYI. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel my patterns right now with waiting or the patterns I've noticed within myself are probably I'm a solution-based person.
Yeah.
As much as I am big picture and trusting, I'm also very recognizing patterns and
Mhm.
solutions. And so it is a pattern of mine to see the gap ahead of me,
Yeah.
or I should say I'm someone who I can see the vision of what I want very clearly.
Mhm.
I can see my future very, very clearly, but there's always obviously a gap of me getting there with anything.
Yep.
And because I'm so solution based and I'm someone who can solve the problem in
Yep.
front of me and for
Yep.
other people as a projector, I
Yep.
often try to solve my own problems as a projector.
Sure.
And that's the pattern of I almost backpedal when I try to jump in and solve my own problems or guide myself
Yes.
too much. Like, I'm
Right.
not necessarily here to guide me. My internal system is guiding me.
Mhm.
The universe is guiding me.
Right.
My people, my network is helping guiding me to what's right.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in that gap of waiting or I don't have the thing I want yet, or I see um, what am I thinking of? Like a location point in front of me that I want to get to,
Yeah.
I will try to, find a car,
Right.
make up the directions and get there myself.
Right.
But
Right.
that's conditioning of
Yeah.
the collective of my past, that's just,
Yep.
I mean, I know we're similar in that way in
Yeah.
terms of the patterns, the solutions, we're good at that for other people. So not using
Yes.
that too much on myself in those
Right.
moments.
Well, and especially for you as a projector, I mean, like talking it out, uh,
Hmm.
like on our
A
on
little
our
bit.
apps as we're
Every day.
chatting. I mean, it's something that like I can tell when you're like, okay, I just need to let this out, and you do, and it's like, all right, well, you know, tell me in 24 hours the download you get because it's coming. Like the way you can process things is so quick. But I also want to highlight projectors in general. Like
Hmm.
talking it out can be super
Yeah.
supportive as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
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 And I don't know the reason for that. Is there a reason for that in human design? Why project? I mean,
E- Well,
what are
so
you thinking?
sure, like projectors who you could have an emotional authority
Hmm.
project that's possible. So the time and space is going to be a big thing. And I realize we haven't said anything about authority, but that's,
Yeah, we'll get into that.
yeah, we'll get into it.
Yes.
So,
Stay
but
tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. It's
yes,
juicy stuff.
yes. But a big thing I think for projector energy is like talking it out allows you to have your wisdom and insights expressed
Hmm.
and you are hearing yourself. Like you're not talking it out to get
Absolutely.
somebody else's opinions or whatnot. There may be a piece of like recognition, maybe that can
Mm-hmm.
get thrown in there.
Or
But I
you
think a
can you
lot,
can recognize yourself too. Like when you're saying that, you're hearing yourself,
yes,
and then you can recognize yourself when you hear yourself. That's helpful.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the way like projectors operate in this world is not as society is run. So I think also talking it out and expressing it can just like really get that energy
Mm-hmm.
moving. Um, in a like appropriate way, right? Like you're
Yeah.
not forcing or pushing or initiating anything. It's just here's what's going on. I
Mm-hmm.
need a safe space to express it. And then as you do that, you're like, oh, ding, 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 ding. Body is responding to these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. And there's so, like you said, so many examples of when I maybe did the thing
Yeah.
first and
Yeah.
then I was came back, I was like, that didn't feel good, blah, 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 and I would tell you guys,
Yeah.
you and Jenny,
Yeah.
or even my husband,
Sure.
I'm constantly dropping loads of thoughts and conversations onto him. I love him so much.
Yes.
Um, but there's also times where when I got to my desired energy, my alignment faster was when I talked it out
Yeah.
before I did the thing. So like
Yes.
that's kind of what I'm hearing is like being able to find that space, even if
Mhm.
it's with yourself, even if it's, and
Sure.
I've done this, recording to
Yep.
yourself, right?
Yep. Yep.
Recording on your phone, listening to it back and being like, whew, okay, all right.
Yep.
Yes, that might feel like having a conversation with yourself, but you're getting that energy out
Yeah.
and you're moving it before you're trying to do something with your waiting
Yep. Yep.
as a projector.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
as a generator, having a defined sacral, at least, that's what's gonna
Yeah,
make
we
you a
could say
generator.
non-sacral and sacral too, not just projectors, but yeah.
Right, right. That's always something that like for me, like going out on a walk, like getting in nature, moving my body, whatever that looks like or like feels
Mhm.
good for the individual, that can really help in like
Mhm.
those times for like
Yeah.
our energy type. So again, it's like different. Not to say as a generator you can't like speak your thoughts, but it just does not operate and feel the same way as like
Mhm.
moving in some capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just to kind of, I don't even know how long we've been recording, so I wanna be mindful of time.
Yes, good. Let's
Um,
do that.
but what I'm hearing us start to talk about, and maybe this continues or we dive into this in another episode, but what I'm starting to hear now is that previously, right, the collective energy around waiting was, there was this masculine, forceful control, feeling to it.
Mhm.
If we had that masculine, forceful control energy, we felt good.
Yep.
And now we're in this process of kind of just breaking all of it down.
Yes.
And some of us might be tapping into the laws of the universe to have that, masculine container. And that's really supportive for some of us. But I'm
Mhm.
also, what I'm hearing you say is that you're creating your own rules,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
you're creating your own masculine container of how
Mm.
to hold yourself when you're waiting.
Yep.
And I think that's a practice. I think that's an experimentation. I think that's a
Yep.
lot of things that could really be a great, conversation for another time of
Yep.
how to really build your own container around your waiting.
Yes.
Um, but I think that's our responsibility as we move into this new paradigm to start doing so that we are living the most aligned life. We aren't
Yes.
acting before we're supposed to and getting off track, or we're not
Mhm.
trying to take control over our world when we are designed physically, mentally, energetically, spiritually to have this very perfect, healthy, loving path on life,
Mm.
right?
Yes, please. Yes,
And
absolutely.
getting comfortable with the energy of waiting is absolutely a part of that.
Yes, it's a foundation. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is where we're going to be talking about all of this stuff, right? We're going to be
Yes.
talking about waiting in so many different ways.
Mhm.
Guys,
Absolutely.
we did a brainstorm. Let's just say we did a brainstorm of topics
Yes.
and conversations and interviews that we want to have around
Mhm.
waiting,
Yep.
and some things we want to share while we're personally waiting in our own lives, right? This is
Yes.
just, we want this to be a space where not only can you practice waiting and become or come into the highest expression of waiting for yourself and your own life, but also you have a space to go just hang out while you're waiting.
Yes.
Sometimes waiting is just distracting yourself and enjoying life, right?
Yeah, and hopefully things we say will like spark something of like, "Oh, that's it," or
Yeah.
"Ooh, I really resonate with that." But yeah, I feel like there's just not there's just not enough like real time what's going on? How is this working out? Like how do you live this or
Yeah.
what's coming up? So, yeah, I'm like so thrilled.
Yeah, and
Episode
I
1,
think we
we're
should
getting it
say,
going.
I know, me too. And I think we should say here at the end of this, if you are still listening, maybe it's something we insert at the beginning, but everybody is invited, right? Like to
Yes.
listen to this podcast, to come into our energy, come into our homes. Everybody is invited. And
Yes.
I know that's a more general invitation, but I hope everybody feels welcome here. And, as you listen to these episodes or something, resonates with you, like Jess said, or if you have questions for us or you just want to connect with us, please
Yep.
don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. We would love to kind of bring your experience of waiting into the conversation and your
Mhm.
path into this conversation. So, Jess, let's just repeat, where can everybody find you?
Yeah.
Website, IG, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, so any of those is I am designed for more. Uh for website and IG. And yeah, DM me, or even if you want to email, it's just support
Mhm.
at iamdesignedformore.com. And yeah, would love to hear what connects, topics, thoughts. Just, yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm here for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then everyone can find me at Jenna Energy
Mm-hmm.
and jennaenergy.com. So
Perfect.
hopefully this was a lovely episode for you guys. Jess, I know I had so much fun.
I
I
had
just want
so
to
much
record the
fun.
next one right now.
I know. We're just gonna keep on going. We're not stopping.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So we will see you on the next episode.
Yes. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.